All right, we are recording. So welcome everyone. Happy Thursday. I'm Sarah and this is yoga. So today we are going to be doing a lot of our bird poses. A lot of the poses in yoga are named after birds. A lot of them are named after animals, but I'm going to kind of focus on the bird poses because there are several of them. As always, if there's anything that we do today that doesn't work for you, for your practice, maybe you're taking care of an injury, something else is going on, please, you can either modify the pose, you can skip it altogether, you can do something else. Just do what feels right to you. I always like to say, and I did not make this up, I stole this from somebody, but yoga's a buffet. You take what you like, you leave the rest, and that's it. All right. So we're going to go ahead and begin on our backs today. So coming to the mat. So you can have your legs straight or you can bend your knees. I generally like to have my knees bent. It feels a little bit better for my spine so that my spine can be nice and long. So if you do have those knees bent, you can point your knees straight up toward the ceiling. You could walk your feet out towards the edge of the mat, let the knees kind of rest in against each other. Or if you want to open up the hips and inner thighs, you can bring the soles of your feet together, let your knees open out to the sides, and just enjoy that nice passive stretch here. Maybe closing the eyes, and we'll start to bring our attention to the breath. Taking some nice full deep inhales and exhales, and just letting go of everything else. So letting go of the rest of your day, whatever happened to you up until right now, and not thinking ahead to the rest of your afternoon and evening, or even what's coming up tomorrow, the next couple of days. So just really trying to stay present in this moment, following the breath. Maybe taking a quick scan of the body, noticing how you're feeling and not placing any judgment on that. Nothing is good or bad, it just is. Well, I'll go ahead and bend our knees now and walk the feet out towards the edges of the mat so the knees kind of rest in against each other. And then moving your arms away from your body a little bit, and we'll start with some windshield wipers. So taking knees over to one side, coming back through center, and then taking the knees over to the other side. So just going back and forth at your own pace. You can synchronize the movement with your breath if you want, inhaling knees up to center and exhaling them as you go from side to side. Bringing some movement to the body here. We'll do one more to each side. And then we'll come back to center, walking the feet in so that they are parallel to each other and maybe about hip width apart, and then maybe walking the middle closer to the bottom. Taking arms all the way out to a T position, and then we'll drop both knees over to the right side for a lying spinal twist. So keeping both shoulders on the mat, you can turn your head to look down your left arm to bring that twist all the way up into the neck. And then bringing the knees and the head back up to center, dropping the knees over to the left, maybe looking down your right arm. Again, we want to keep both shoulders grounded. And We'll start to move this with the breath. So inhale the knees up to center. Exhale them over to the right. Inhaling them back to center and then exhaling them over to the left. So just going back and forth at your own pace. You can leave your feet down on the mat, or if you want, pick the feet up off the mat and bring the knees a little closer to the chest. You can keep your head still or turn the head in the opposite direction of the knees as you twist. Taking one more to each side. And then we'll come back to center, hugging both knees into the chest. Give them a little squeeze here. Holding on to your right knee, let's extend the left leg out long. You can either rest your heel on the mat or leave the leg hovering an inch or two off of the mat. You can leave your head and shoulders down, or if you want, pick them up and bring your forehead a little closer to that right knee. On your next inhale, we're going to extend the right leg out, and then exhale, bring the opposite knee in. So moving back and forth with your breath at your pace. Inhale, extend, exhale, bring the other knee in. So taking a few more here. Next time we have that right knee in, let's pause there. Release your left heel in the back of the head to the mat if they're lifted. Taking your left hand to the outside of the right knee, take your right knee across your body over to the left. Reach your right arm out and twist. So a little bit more intensity in this twist than in our other twist. And we'll release, come back to center. Extending that right leg out. Bring your left knee in, give it a nice squeeze. And then take the right hand to the outside of the left knee. Take your left knee across your body over to your right. Reaching your left arm out for a twist. Maybe turning the head to look down that left arm. And releasing, coming back to center, hugging both knees in. Taking some little rocks from side to side, just kind of massage that low back. And then place the hands on top of the kneecaps, circling the knees around first in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. Coming back to center, either roll into your side, making your way up to a seat that way, or grabbing hold behind the knees and using the legs to rock back and forth 2 to 3 times, making your way up to a seat that way. Coming into any comfortable seat you choose. So most people like to sit cross-legged, but if that's not comfortable for you, you can always extend your legs out in front of you into staff pose. You can sit on a blanket if you have one. Let's go ahead and sit up nice and tall, rolling those shoulders up, back, and down, away from the ears. And then we'll drop the chin down into the chest, stretching the back of the neck. Taking the right ear towards the right shoulder. Releasing the chin back down to the chest. And then we'll take the left ear over towards the left shoulder. So starting to move with your breath at your pace. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, right ear, right shoulder. Exhale, chin to chest. Inhale, left ear, left shoulder. So take a few more with your breath at your pace. And always skip the chin to chest if these half circles are irritating your neck. And just tip your head from one side to the other. And let's do one more on each side. Coming back to center when we're done and lifting the chin so it's level with the floor. Keeping shoulders and torso still, turn your head, look over your right shoulder. Releasing through center and looking over the left. Moving with your breath at your pace. Inhale through center, exhale. Alternate from side to side. Try to keep your shoulders and torso still. And we'll hold on one side, dropping the chin down towards that shoulder that you're looking over. Lifting the chin, coming back through center, looking over the other shoulder. And again, dropping the chin. Lifting the chin, come back to center, bring the hands behind the head and look all the way up. And release, taking some shoulder circles first to the front. Nice big circles here. And we'll take one more to the front, and then circle around to the back. And let's take one more. Moving into a breathing twist, inhaling, reaching arms up overhead. Exhaling, gently twisting to one side, placing one hand in front and one behind, and inhale it back up. Exhaling as we twist to the other side. So moving with your breath at your pace. Inhaling as we reach, exhaling as we gently twist. Maybe looking over that back shoulder as you twist, maybe just looking to the side. And we'll hold on one side for an extra breath or two. If you like, take your front hand to your opposite knee, pressing into the knee, going a little deeper into that twist. And releasing, inhaling the arms up. Exhaling as we twist to the other side. Again, front hand to opposite knee, press into the knee, go a little bit deeper. And release, inhaling the arms up. Exhaling the hands to the heart. Taking a few deep breaths here. Maybe taking this moment to set an intention for your practice today. Dedicating the efforts of your practice to someone or something. And then we'll make our way to all fours for some cat and cows. So bringing our wrists underneath our shoulders, our knees under our hips, fingers spread wide. You can pad your knees with a blanket or a towel if you have one handy. On your next inhale, we're going to dip the belly down and look up into cat. Exhaling as we arch the spine, tucking the chin and the pelvis under into cat. So moving with your breath at your pace. Inhaling and exhaling, warming up that spine. Elbows remain a little bit soft. Core is engaged, pelvic floor is lifted. Take a few more in each direction. We'll take one more of each. Coming back to our neutral tabletop, moving into our spinal balance. Let's inhale, reach the right arm and the left leg out. Exhaling as we release. And then left arm and right leg reach on the inhale. Exhaling as we release. So moving with your breath at your pace, inhaling as we reach, exhaling as we release, keeping that core nice and strong. Our gaze can be down at the mat between our hands. So sometimes this pose is called bird dog, which I know is not a bird, but it's a dog, but that's all right. It has the word bird in it. Let's do one more on each side. And then when we're done with that, we'll sit back into our child's pose. And if child's pose bothers your knees, you can always take puppy pose instead. So in puppy pose, our knees are directly underneath our hips so that they're more at a 90-degree angle. Okay, so this would be puppy pose. Child's pose, the hips are all the way back by the heels. And then you can extend your arms out into your extended child's pose, or if you want, you can stack hands or fists and rest your forehead on them, or bring your hands back by your feet with the palms facing up. Your knees can stay together, you can separate them, whatever feels best for you. Remembering that you can come into your child or puppy pose anytime you need to take a break during our practice today. You can rest and then just rejoin the practice whenever you're ready. Also know that child or puppy pose can be used as a modification for downward dog if that is not in your practice today. If downward dog is in your practice though, we'll go ahead and make our way there now. Planting the hands at the front of the mat, shoulder width apart, fingers spread wide, and we'll come forward, tucking the toes, lifting the hips up and back, coming into your Adho Mukha Svanasana, downward facing dog. So if you like to work out some of your wiggles here in your first downward dog, be my guest. Pedal out your feet or shake your head out, or take one leg in a three-legged dog at a time, or pivot your heels from side to side, whatever feels good and right to you today. If any movement, you could be still in your downward dog if you just want to kind of hang out and enjoy the stretch. Your hamstrings, your calves, in the upper body. This is a really great head to toe stretch. It's also an inversion. Our hips are higher than our head, so it counts as an inversion. Lots of wonderful benefits for a downward dog. Finding that place of stillness for a couple of breaths, tucking the chin and looking back between the legs. Relax the shoulders away from the ears. And then we'll look up at our hands and just walk the feet up to the hands. Coming into a forward fold. Feet are still hip width apart. We'll soften the knees, grab opposite elbows, and just let the upper body hang. So releasing any tension you might be holding on to in the neck, the shoulders, the head. Let's shake the head out from side to side. And then take it front to back. And then sway the whole torso from side to side. Coming back to center, releasing elbows, placing hands on shins or thighs, extending the spine, looking forward. Take a few deep breaths here. On your next exhale, fold. Soften the knees, inhale, reverse swan dive, come all the way up. Exhaling, bringing the hands to the heart. Take a few deep breaths here. All right, we'll move through some sun salutations. I'm going to do sort of my basic one that I like to do. If you want to add your own individual flair to the sun salutation, or you want to do a completely different version of the sun salutation, that's totally up to you. If you want to skip the sun salutation, that's fine too. All right, if you are moving through the sun salutation with me, come up to the front of your mat. Let's inhale, reach the arms up. Exhaling as we swan dive down, forward fold with soft knees. We'll step the right foot to the back. You can stay up on the toes or lower that right knee down. Inhaling, reaching arms up. And then exhaling them back down, and then taking our left foot to the back for downward dog, or child or puppy pose, your choice. We'll inhale forward into a plank. You can stay on your toes, or again, lower the knees. Exhaling part way down for chaturanga, crocodile. Inhale either into cobra or upward facing dog. So this is cobra. Tucking the toes, lift the hips up and back. Downward dog, child's pose, puppy pose, your choice. Stepping that right foot up by the hands. If you get stuck partway, just help it get there with your hand. Stay on the toes or lower the left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up. And then exhale them back down. Taking the left foot up to the front. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. Exhale the hands to the heart. And inhale it up. Exhale, fold with soft knees. This time the left foot steps back. Again, stay on the toes or lower the knee. Inhale, reach it up. And exhale, release. Take your right foot back, downward dog or child's pose. Inhale the plank. Stay on the toes or lower the knees. Exhale, chaturanga, crocodile. Inhale the cobra or dog. Exhale, downward dog or child's pose. Left foot steps up by the hands. Help it get there if it gets stuck. Stay on toes or drop your right knee. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale it down and take your right foot up to the front. Inhale, reverse swan dive. Come on. Exhale the hands to the heart. We'll do that one more time on each side. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold with soft knees. Right foot back. Stay on toes or lower the knee. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale them down and take your left foot back. Downward dog or child's pose. Inhale the plank. Stay on the toes or lower your knees. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or dog. Exhale, downward dog or child's pose. Stepping that right foot up by the hands. Stay on the toes or drop your left knee. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release and take your left foot to the front. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. Exhale the hands to the heart. One more time on the left. Inhale, reach. Exhale, fold with soft knees. Left foot steps back. Stay on the toes or lower the knee. Inhale, reach the arms up. Exhale, release and take your right foot back. Downward dog or child's pose. Inhale the plank. Stay on toes or lower knees. Exhale, chaturanga. Inhale, cobra or dog. Exhale, downward dog or child's pose. Stepping that left foot up by the hands. Stay on the toes or drop your right knee. Inhale, reach it up. Exhale, release and take your right foot to the front. Inhale, reverse swan dive, come up. Exhale, hands to the heart. And taking a few deep breaths here. Open mouth exhales if you need them. Slowing the breath down. Let's inhale, reach it up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold with soft knees. Let's step the right foot back. We're going to turn that foot out 45 degrees, dropping the heel, keeping your left knee bent. We're going to walk our way up that left leg for Virabhadrasana Echo Warrior 1. So if you want to adjust your hips in this pose, place your hands on your hips. Use your right hand to gently press your right hip forward a little bit more. We're trying to get the hips to face the front of our mat. They're not going to get there 100%, but that's the direction we're moving. You should feel a really good stretch in your right hip flexor. And then just for today, let's bring our hands to the heart, sinking into our Warrior 1. And then we're going to open and close our arms with our breath. So wings to prayer. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Once more, open. Exhale, close. Hold it here for another breath or two. And then we're going to turn to the side. So this back foot is going to turn out a little bit more. We're going to keep our left knee pointing straight towards the front of our mat. The hips and the torso are going to face the long end of the mat. And then we'll extend the arms out into Virabhadrasana to be Warrior Two. So shoulders are stacked over your hips. Shoulders are relaxed. You can leave your hands at the heart, by the way, if you don't want to extend the arms. They can absolutely stay at the heart if you prefer. Turning our left palm up toward the ceiling. We're going to reach forward with that left hand and then bring that arm up. Reverse warrior. Your right arm can lightly rest on your right leg. You can also bring it behind your back, reaching for your left hip. Try to keep the bend in the left knee. A lot of times when we reach this left arm up, the left leg straightens. So if you need to straighten the leg because the leg is tired, that's fine, but don't do it unconsciously. And then we'll come back through Warrior Two, moving into side angle. So reach forward again with the left fingertips. This time the forearm comes down to the thigh. The right arm reaches up and over. So some folks might want to have that arm reaching straight up toward the ceiling. I always like to bring that arm alongside my head so I get a nice straight line from my right fingertips to my right heel. And then you have options from here if you want to bring your left hand down to the mat or to a block if you have one, or if you want to come into the bind. And the bind is going to set us up for a bird pose. So if you can bind, go for it. The right arm comes behind the back. The left arm comes underneath the left thigh, and we clasp the hands together. All right, so this first bird pose is probably one of our more challenging ones, bird of paradise. So if you want to come into this pose, you're going to step your right foot into your left, so it's underneath your hip, and then you're going to pick your left foot up and balance. Okay? So maybe you stay here with the leg bent, maybe you extend. All right, if you're in bird of paradise, go ahead and come back into your side angle. Let's all release the bind if we're in the bind. And then we'll bring the hands down to frame this left foot. You can step your left foot back into downward dog, child's pose or puppy pose, or if you want, step back to plank and move through a vinyasa, coming through chaturanga, upward dog or cobra, and then back to downward dog. And I'm actually going to turn around so that when we do the other side, I don't have my back to you guys. All right, from our downward dog, we'll step the right foot up by the hands. Turn that left foot out 45 degrees, drop the heel, keep your right knee bent. Walk your way up that right leg. Warrior One, so again, if you want to adjust those hips, use your left hand, gently guide your left hip forward. Hands come to the heart. You want to make sure that the right knee is not coming forward of the right toes. It should be stacked right above, the ankle. It should be stacked right above the ankle or behind it, but not forward of it. So let's open and close the arms, wings to prayer. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Inhale, open. Exhale, close. Once more, open. Exhale, close, holding here. Sink the hips. Breathe. Let's start to open to the side for warrior two. Spinning the back foot out a little bit more, up to 90 degrees. And then the arms extend out if you wish for warrior two. So check the position of that right knee. Make sure it's pointing straight over the right toes, not pointing to the left corner of your mat. Let's turn this right palm up toward the ceiling, reaching for the front of the room, and then bring it up, reverse warrior. Left arm lightly rests on that left leg, or we reach behind the back for the right hip. Keep the bend in the right knee. Coming back through warrior two, reach it forward again. Bring the forearm to the thigh, left arm reaches open over, side angle. And then staying here or bringing that right hand down to a block or the mat, or moving into the bind. Take your right arm behind your back. Left arm comes underneath the left thigh. Clasping the hands together, open that chest back up to the side. If you want to do bird of paradise on this side, step your left foot in. And then start to pick your right foot up. Either keep the leg bent or straighten it. If you're in bird of paradise, release back into your side angle. We'll release the bind. Bring the hands down to frame the foot. Let's just step the left foot up to the front. And reverse swan dive, come up. Exhale, bring the hands to the heart. Ooh. Haven't done that one in a while. All right, so moving on to some balance. We are going to do Gadudasana or eagle pose for our standing balance today. Don't worry, we'll be doing pigeon, all kinds of other bird poses later. So if you are able to come off of your mat and move to a part of your room that is not carpeted, that would be best. It's easier to balance on a hard surface than a softer one. If you're on all carpet like me, just stay on your mat. It doesn't really make that much of a difference. So let's bring our feet hips width apart and parallel, toes spread and relaxed. Balancing the weight evenly on the bottoms of the feet. Engaging the core and lifting the pelvic floor. Finding a drishti, a focal point. Go ahead and soften the knees a little bit. And then we'll shift the weight onto our right foot and just take our left heel and step on our right toes. Softening the knees. So making a little kickstand version of eagle here. So you can pick your toes up and set them back down as needed. Okay, you want to play here with this kickstand version. If you want to, you can sink your hips down a little bit more and then cross the legs at the thighs. So maybe you're touching your left toes on the mat for more stability. Maybe you're just kind of letting them hang out in space. Maybe you want to hook that foot around the back of your right calf. And then adding the arms, we're going to take the right arm on top of the left and wrap the forearms together. See if you can bring your thumbs right to your nose so you can see one eye on either side of those hands. And then you have the option, if you want, to fold, bringing your elbow down to your thigh or your knee. If you're folded, slowly come back up. And we'll go ahead and release. Roll out your right ankle. Reset your feet. Re-engage that pada bandha, that foot seal on the floor. So toes spread and relaxed, arches lifted, pressing through the tripod of the foot. Finding our focal point again. Soften the knees, shift the weight onto your left foot. Take your right heel and step on your left toes. So staying here in your kickstand version of Gadudasana, maybe taking the toes up and setting them back down. If you like, you can sink your hips down more and cross the legs of the thighs, touching the toes down, letting them kind of hang out, or hooking that foot around the back of the calf, as long as your right knee is okay with that. This does kind of create a lot of torque on that knee, so if your knee complains, just unwrap that foot. Adding the arms, the left arm comes on top of the right, thumbs to nose, one eagle eye on either side of your hands, and then option to fold. You folded, slowly come back up, and we'll release. Roll out your left ankle, and we'll go ahead and make our way back to the mat. If we stepped off of it, coming up to the top of the mat, let's inhale, reach it up. Exhale, swan dive down, forward fold with soft knees. Stepping to the back one at a time. Coming into downward facing dog. Right leg lifts, three-legged dog. Stay here, bend the knee and twist, reaching that knee up toward the ceiling and opening up those hips. Releasing that twist, bringing your right knee to your right wrist to come into Pigeon, Gadudasana. Sliding that left leg back. Now, if this bothers your knee, please take a figure four stretch on your back. So come onto your back, cross your right ankle over your left thigh, make that figure four, and then pull on your left leg. All right, you'll get a similar hip stretch, but it won't put so much stress on your knee. If you're staying in Pigeon, try to keep your hips level. A lot of us have a tendency to roll onto this right hip, so use your hands to stabilize you. You could also prop underneath this right hip with a blanket or a block if it's high enough. And then when you're ready, you can fold, resting your head on your hands on a block or taking your forehead all the way down to the mat. So you can either stay here in your Pigeon, or if you want to come into King Pigeon, Raja Kapotasana, we'll go ahead and come back up, lifting the chest, and then bending that left knee and pointing the toes up toward the ceiling. Maybe reaching back with our left hand to pull on that left ankle or foot, maybe sliding the foot into the elbow. If you want, you could also balance this pose, reaching your right arm out. If you have the foot in the elbow and you want, you can also find this pose, reaching back for your fingers. If you're in King Pigeon, gently release the hands and the foot to the mat. Tucking the left toes under, we'll lift those hips up and back. If you're on your back with the figure four and you know you're going to do the same on the other side, you can just stay on your back and switch legs. In downward dog, we'll take that left leg up, three-legged dog. Staying there, bending the knee and twisting, reaching that knee up toward the ceiling, opening up the hips. And then releasing the twist, bring your left knee to your left wrist. Coming into Pigeon on the other side. Slide that right leg back. Again, make sure the hips are level, propping as needed, folding when you're ready. And either stay here or come on up for King Pigeon on the other side, lifting the chest, bending the right knee, pointing the toes up toward the ceiling. Staying here or reaching back for your right foot with your right hand, maybe sliding that foot into the elbow. Maybe balancing the pose, reaching the left arm out. Maybe reaching back for your fingers to bind. If you're in King Pigeon, gently release the hands and the foot down. We're going to tuck the toes under, lifting the hips up and back. Coming into downward dog. Let's go ahead and step our feet wide, turning the toes out so that our heels are on the mat and our toes are off. And we're going to walk the hands back towards the feet, bending the knees. So we'll come into garland pose, malasana. So we're going to do crow. I know we did it on Tuesday, but we'll do it again. We'll practice some more. And then I was doing some reading because sometimes people call it crow, some people call it crane. I finally found something online that told me the difference between the two, and I will fill you in as we go. If you don't want to do crow, because crow is an arm balance, so if you don't want to do an arm balance, you can stand up and do another type of standing balance. You can do really any other seated pose, whatever makes you happy, whatever will complete your practice. Okay, so if you're working on crow with me, bring the hands out in front of you, hands shoulder width apart, fingers spread wide, bending the elbows back and out, so we're making a shelf for our shins with our triceps, okay? So we're gonna come up onto our toes and work the shins up as high as we can onto those triceps. Looking forward, because if we look down, that's where our head's gonna go. So we don't wanna crash. We wanna look forward and take flight, bringing our weight onto our hands, maybe taking one or both toes off of the mat. Okay, so this is crow, right? With the elbows bent. When you straighten the arms, this is the next progression, and this becomes crane when the arms are straight. All right, so elbows bent, crow, elbows straight, crane. Okay, so I'll give you just a few more moments to work on one or both of those if you want. So crane, when you're coming from crow, crane, you really have to squeeze your legs in so that they don't slide off your arms when you straighten. Whew. All right, go ahead and have a seat, and we'll roll out those wrists. 2 arm balances in 1 week. Crazy. But a lot of those, we did balance on Tuesday, and a lot of those balance poses are bird poses. All right, let's go ahead and take our right arm out, point the fingers down, grab the back of the hand with your left hand, and just gently pull your fingers towards you, stretching out the back of the wrist. And we'll release and switch, stretching the left wrist out. All right, go ahead and extend our legs out, coming into staff pose, Gadudasana. You can move some of the flesh out from underneath your sit bones, or if you like, sit on a folded up blanket or towel. Elevate those hips a little bit. If you have a strap, you might want to have it handy for our seated forward fold. So flexing the feet, let's inhale to lengthen the spine, reaching the arms up. Exhaling as we fold, hinging from the hips. So reaching for your feet or grabbing onto your shins or underneath your thighs, or if you have a strap, taking that strap, looping it around the bottoms of the feet, and then pulling on the ends. Keeping your shoulders relaxed, keeping your spine neutral. So there are more bird poses, but I'm not going to do all of them today. Peacock is one. If you want to look that one up, that one is one I'm never ever going to do because it does not look comfortable at all. So not all yoga poses are perfect. All right, let's go ahead and release. If you're using a strap today, leave it wrapped around the bottom of your left foot and take your right foot out, bending the right knee and then letting that knee open out to the right side for Janushrishasana. You can prop underneath the knee if you like. Placing one hand on either side of the left leg, turning the chest to face the leg. Inhale to lengthen. Exhale to fold. Reaching for your foot or the strap anywhere along the leg. You could take a cross grip if you want, reaching for the outside of the foot or leg with your right hand and the instep side with your left. And release, coming back up, bringing that right knee up. We'll step that right foot up and over to the outside of the left thigh. You can leave your left leg straight, or if you want, you can bend it underneath you and sit back down. Hugging the knee with the left arm, taking the right arm behind us for a twist. You can stay here hugging your knee. You can bring your elbow past your knee. You could reach through the legs with your left arm, come behind the back with the right, and find your pose. And release. Standing the right leg out, bending your left knee, letting that knee open out to the left side. For Janushrishasana, you can prop underneath the knee if you want. If you're using a strap, set it up around the bottom of your right foot. I always like to also cross it at my ankle so it doesn't fall off while I'm adjusting my upper body. Placing the hands on either side of the right leg, turn the chest to face the leg. Inhale to lengthen, exhale to fold. Try to center the chest over that right leg. That's kind of why we do that little adjustment. That's why if you can do the cross grip, that helps as well, just to keep that chest centered over the leg. It wants to be in the middle of the legs, but we'll just kind of twist a little bit. And then we'll go ahead and release, bringing that left knee up, step that foot up and over. Keep your right leg straight or bend it underneath you and sit back down, hugging the knee with the right arm, bringing the left arm behind us as we twist, hugging the knee or bringing the elbow past the knee or reaching through the legs with the right arm, coming behind the back with the left, and binding our pose. And we'll release. Let's go ahead and come all the way down onto the back. So you can hold on behind the legs or challenge your core by not holding on, extending the arms, going down as slowly as you possibly can, tucking the chin into the chest. Once gravity wins, hug the knees into the chest. Take some rocks from side to side. Place hands on top of the knees and circle those knees first in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. Coming back to center, hugging that right knee in and releasing your left leg down. Give your right knee a nice squeeze. Extending your right leg up toward the ceiling, pointing and flexing the foot a few times. And then circling that foot first in one direction. And then in the opposite direction. Grabbing anywhere along the leg or using a strap, pulling your right leg in towards you for a hamstring stretch. Your left leg can stay bent with the foot flat on the floor. You can straighten that leg out along the floor. Extending the right leg out towards the right side. Try to keep your left side on the mat so you can put your left hand on your hip to kind of anchor it down or activate the muscles in your left leg to make that side of your body heavier. And then taking that right leg up and across the body over to the left, reaching your right arm out into a T, keeping your right shoulder on the mat and maybe also looking down your right arm. And release, bring that right leg back up. Coming into a figure four, so crossing your right ankle over your left thigh, reaching your right arm between your legs, and then pulling on that left leg. So you can either grab on the back of the thigh or on the front of that left shin. Try to line your left knee up over your left shoulder. And then releasing the right foot down, hugging your left knee in. Extending that left leg up toward the ceiling. Point and flex your foot a few times. And then circle, first in one direction, and then in the opposite direction. Grabbing anywhere along the leg or using a strap, pulling your left leg in towards you for a hamstring stretch. The right leg may be bent or straight. Extending that left leg out towards the left side, keeping your right side anchored to the mat, maybe by putting your hand on your hip or just activating the muscles in that right leg. And then taking that left leg up and across the body over to the right, reaching your left arm out into that T position, keeping your left shoulder on the mat, maybe also looking down that left arm. And release. Bring that left leg back up, figure four, so bending both knees, crossing your left ankle over your right thigh, reaching your left arm through, and then pulling on that right leg, either on the back of the thigh or the front of the shin, trying to line that right knee up over that right shoulder. And we'll release, hugging the knees into the chest. Extending arms out to a T position, palms up or down. Either drop both knees to your right, or if you want, you can cross your left leg over your right thigh first, and then take the knees to your right. Keeping both shoulders on the mat, maybe looking down that left arm. And releasing and switching sides. So if you cross the legs one way, cross them the other way, and then we'll take the knees down to the left. Maybe looking down your right arm. And release. Uncrossing the legs if they're crossed, hugging the knees into the chest, bringing your forehead up to meet the knees, squeeze everything in nice and tight. And then releasing it all down. So preparing for Shavasana, final relaxation. So if you don't want to stay for Shavasana, go ahead and exit the class right now. If you are staying for Shavasana, putting on some layers if you're a little bit cool in your space. Maybe making your space darker. If you have a lot of light coming in, or if you have an eye pillow, you can put an eye pillow over your face to kind of block out some of the light. And then finally finding a comfortable position to stay in. before your meditation, I'm going to read a little guided visualization to give your brain something to focus on. As you relax now and listen to my voice, think about melting into the most comfortable bed. As your body lets go and goes limp, allow the feeling of weightlessness to take over. Close your eyes and feel yourself floating, weightless and free. Imagine resting outside under a clear blue sky. And as you look up, you see a bird. Seemingly motionless and buoyant, the bird floats along the gentle currents of the wind, moving effortlessly forward. As it moves, you move in harmony with the bird, towards a state of serene relaxation. Imagine yourself rising and soaring away from your tension and frustration, motionless and buoyant on your own currents of relaxation. And we'll start to wiggle fingers and toes, circling ankles and wrists, and reaching the arms up overhead to stretch and release. And either rolling to one side or hugging the knees into the chest. Taking a few deep breaths as you prepare to come up to seated. And when you're ready, making your way into any comfortable seat you choose to finish your practice today. Sitting up nice and tall and dropping the chin to the chest. Taking the right ear towards the right shoulder. And left ear to left shoulder. Bringing the head up, taking the hands behind the head, looking all the way up. And release. Taking 3 deep breaths, inhaling arms up. And exhaling them down. Inhaling up. And exhaling down. One more time, inhaling it up. Bringing the hands together at heart center as we exhale. The light in me honors the light in you. Namaste.